This is the most disturbing videos on the internet today. Let's dive in. Gold miners in Alaska found a 36,000-year-old frozen bison.
Gold miners in Alaska found a 36,000-year-old frozen bison called Blue Babe. And yes, scientists actually made stew out of its neck, because when life hands you ancient meat, apparently, you cook it. Would you try a bite of prehistoric dinner? Gold miners in Alaska.
No, I'm not trying no prehistoric bison. Are you crazy? Guys, you're not going to believe this. Watch this bright, luminous orb as we search for answers of what this possibly could be.
You don't even see it blinking on the thing. Except on the ocean, it seems to pulsate.
This thing just stands still. I'm going to be amazed because look how slow this is going.
Do you hear
No
it?
sound whatsoever. You see the light off the...
Oh yeah, it's hitting something. It's searching for something out there. Wow.
Look at this.
Look, it's just stalled out there.
Brent was there filming, and I was there just basically being a spectator for a UFO event. And as you could hear, there was nothing that could indicate that this is any kind of conventional aircraft. We didn't hear anything.
It was totally silent. Like, you're absolutely right. And take a look at what's happening here. We got a super close up of whatever we witnessed last night, and you can see it's illuminating the ocean like I've never seen anything do before. That is wild.
Look at this.
Look, it's just stalled out there. Blake, do you see that?
It's definitely illuminating the ocean. How fascinating is that?
Seeing flashes, pulses of light as it pulses off whatever this object is. And let me tell you, we didn't see any kind of object whatsoever. No propellers, no fuselage, nothing. Just a luminescent light. And as we can see, the pulses don't match up with the light below. It seems like this energy, this orb is just transmitting its light down on the ocean.
Color, and you don't even see it blinking on the thing.
What an extraordinary video of a UFO. Add it to the mystery list.
There's this guy. It looks like he's wearing a uniform like we are. So it looked really strange, and then I began to notice his skin tone.
In the earth.
There's this guy. It looks like he's wearing a uniform like we are. So it looked really strange, and then I began to notice his skin tone looked like he might be hypothermic. He's right there at the corner of the front of the car. And I
So he looks pale? Is that what you're saying?
He looked like an albino with a very bluish kind of undertone. As I'm starting to open my door to try to, administer aid to this guy, the dude in the front passenger seat screams he's got no ears. And I close the door and I look up and he's got no freaking ears. And his eyes are twice as big. And I'm like, yeah, what the hell did I just walk into? And I'm starting to freak out. But then he starts to talk to me, and it's not my language. But the understanding is like coming into my mind about every word he's saying. So I know there's a telepathic thing going on here. And it calms me down at the same time. He's like, hello, I'm having trouble with my craft. I need some repair material. Do you know where I could find some tritium? So I knew where Dreamland was, and I pointed to the mountain range. Dreamland's just over there. And this wave of emotion hit me like disgust. I am not going to talk to those barbarians and murderers.
Maybe the alien knew something that he didn't.
Sense there's something that is very significant about the western part of the United States. The desert, the Grand Canyon, the rock formations. You think even like Devil's Tower. I think it's in is that Wyoming? There's these different rock formations. Like there's different parts like Arizona. It looks like it's been like a nuclear blast, like more than a nuclear blast. Like what did that? How did the rocks start to look like mushrooms?
And when you get up towards like northern Arizona, like on the way to Utah, there's a bunch of like the structures like you're talking about. Like there's barren land, and then it almost looks like ancient towers, like towers or cities that were like
yeah, like if you look in, crazy thing about like the Grand Canyon is they have like the Temple of Isis, the Tower of Osiris. They have like another temple to Shiva, I think, in there. And it's like, they just said some guy just named it that for reasons. Of course. But it kind of does look like there's an entrance to the temple to Isis. Like, what is that place? And then you find out it's off limits. Okay. So now you start to get suspicious. Like, all right. Okay. Well, it's dangerous. It's like, well, people go missing in national parks every day, all day throughout the country. Right. So they're real worried they'll go missing in the Grand Canyon for some reason.
Well, did you know that North America has more cave entrances into whatever you want to call that, whether you want to call it Hollow Earth, Middle Earth, whatever.
Agartha! Are the caves taking us to Agartha?
North America has more entrances than any other continent.
I sense there's something that is
Agartha, man. People aren't talking enough about Agartha, man. How deep is the center of the earth? What's really going on beneath our feet? They're not telling us everything, y'all.
People are refusing to buy homes, get married, or have children in alarming numbers. And it's not a rebellion, it's survival. They're telling us something is deeply broken. Across the Western world, millennials and Gen Zs aren't just delaying adulthood, they're watching the foundations of a stable life disappear. Home ownership, they're priced out. Marriage is too expensive, and kids, they can't afford those either. The average house in places like New Zealand, the US, and the UK now costs 10 times the median income. Wages haven't kept up, student debt is crushing, and rent eats half your pay if you're lucky. And the bank, they want a 20% deposit while you're choosing between food and heating. Marriage rates are the lowest in recorded history in many developed nations. And it's not about Tinder, it's about cost of living. Weddings cost tens of thousands of dollars, and divorce costs even more. When survival is the priority, love becomes a luxury. Birth rates are dropping below replacement level in most rich countries. And not because people hate kids, but because the math doesn't work out. Daycare is like a second mortgage. One income doesn't cut it. Two incomes don't even cut it. So people opt out. And this isn't laziness, it's a rational response to a broken system. Young people want stability, but the system is rigged against them. And when a whole generation loses hope, that's not a phase, that's a warning.
Out to Jake versus the state. Oh my goodness, what are people going to do? It's almost like you have to break the matrix or find some type of way to find a way out. What do people do? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. If you're enjoying this video, be sure to hit that like and subscribe button, because we do these videos every single day. And I'd love to see you around here. So let's get straight back into the action, bucko. Dulce Base, subterranean cities. What do you know about it?
Right now, there are 131 active deep underground military bases in the United States. There's 1,477 of them worldwide. Each one has an average cost of $17 to $19 billion. Each one is built in the site. It used to be, it'd take a year to 2 years to build each one. And now they're capable of building a couple of them a year with sophisticated methods. My colleague, Al Bielik, has actually been on some of the high-speed railways, the Magneto-Levitation trains that connect all the deep underground military bases within the United States. He's been on a Mach 2 train and floats off of a single rail at a 3/4 of an inch off the rail, and is what you'd call high tech. We have nothing like this on the surface. Right now, there are 131
Magneto Magline Trail. It said it's barely hovering right above the rail, and it's just shooting off 300 miles per hour. Nothing like that on the surface. How disturbing.
In Florida, one man built a mysterious castle alone. Ed Ledskelnin moved 20-ton coral blocks with no machines, claiming to know the secrets of the pyramids. No one saw how he did it. Even today, Coral Castle remains a 1,100-ton puzzle of magnetism, precision, and ancient knowledge. In Florida, one man...
Coral Castle is an absolute mystery. I'm not sure they're telling us the 100% truth about Coral Castle.
Elite Scotland in the 20s built this amazing place called Coral Castle. This is still a mystery to a lot of people, or they don't know about it. And he single-handedly put these giant blocks on top of each other, carved them, sculpted them, shaped them on his own, offload them single-handedly. And nobody knew how he did it. He always made the guy stand around the corner or something like that, until one day, two young schoolboys saw him offloading these giant coral blocks. And they came home very excited saying, "Hey, mummy, we saw the guy." And they asked, how did he do it? And the kid said, well, he did it with ice cream cones in his hands, 2 ice cream cones. And the parents imagined, naughty children, what are you talking about? You're trying to force us into buying your ice cream for dinner, right? Well, that's not true. When I heard that, I got extremely excited because that is consistent with what I've been finding in Southern Africa. Cone-shaped tools. And that's why I call it the ice cream cone phenomenon. And this has become a very important part of trying to unravel the ancient mystery, how they did this stuff. They used sound, they levitated stuff, but how did they do it? And I find many of these cone-shaped tools scattered all over Southern Africa. Then you get to the Rosicrucian Museum in the United States, and guess what I find? These cone-shaped tools on display with Sumerian writing on it, Sumerian cuneiform writing on it, commemorating the building of the temples in Sumer. They were then stored in the walls and hidden in secret chambers in the walls that were retrieved from the secret chambers in the walls. Now they're on display in the United States. Cone-shaped tools commemorating the building of the temples in Sumer. They still continue to put in our history books, still today, that these are just cattle kraal for keeping cattle. These amazing stone structures that cover most of Southern Africa. They are really remarkable structures. And the walls are not very high. Sometimes they're flat with the ground. Some places they're 3 meters tall or 2.5 meters high. The most important thing that you need to notice is that each one is completely unique and different. Ohm-shaped structure. And what does ohm represent in modern electronics and electricity? It's linked to vibration, frequency, the movement of current, and so forth. Resistance. Look at all the stuff in between, covered by soil. You have
ohms.
No idea that there's much more of this stuff in between, connecting this one to that one. What is activity all about in Southern Africa? Always about gold. Don't you ever forget it. Always about gold. And remember, it's not the obsession of humans with gold, it's the God's obsession with gold. In Genesis 2, when Adam was alone on earth, Eve had not yet been fashioned from his rib. God comes to Adam and says, hey buddy, there's a place called Havilah. It's land full of milk and honey. The land is good, the water is good. And by the way, buddy, there's gold. What?
Where does it say that at?
On earth is going on here? Why would God, the creator of the universe and all things in it, the commander of consciousness, want to tell Adam about gold? And it's in that one defining moment that you divide God with a big G from God with a small g. Huge, huge division. The twain shall never meet. And the Bible and ancient texts seem to be, especially the Bible, is constantly crossing those lines. What I find fascinating, scholars that have been studying the Bible for 30 years, their entire life, still keep crossing that line. God with a big G, God with a small g. The Elohim is a plural. The Elohim and the Anunnaki are the same beings, and I'll show you why. The ancient history of Southern Africa is all about gold. Sumerian tablets tell us in great detail about the Anunnaki. And the creation of Eve from Adam's rib is reduced to 2 lines in the Bible. In the Sumerian tablets, it's a whole chapter on it, how it happened, how they put Adam into a deep sleep, and blah, blah, blah. It's phenomenal information. Elite Scotland in the 20s built this amazing place called Coral Castle.
They're not telling us the truth about Coral Castle. Nobody knows who built it.
I don't know who it is, and I don't know why, but somebody is telling a lie. This is Coral Castle, located in the suburbs of Homestead, Florida, built by one man, Edward Leedskin from Latvia. And I'm not sure about you, but I think that these guys find buildings and claim it for themselves. So you're trying to tell me one man single-handedly carved thousands of tons of limestone all by himself, 5 feet tall, weighing 100 pounds. How did he lift these tons of limestone in the air? Some say Coral Castle is positioned on the Earth's natural harmonic grid, which helped him with the ability of magnetism, levitation, and electrical current. Leeskin was known to conduct electrical experiments, even publishing his own textbooks, which provided detailed instructions of how to recreate his findings. So it's okay for him to use levitation to move these blocks of stone that weigh a ton, but when we ask how the pyramids were made, nobody knows. So they're saying this was built in 1920. Does that look 100 years old to you? That looks ancient. Even the design, it don't look like nothing from our timeline. The more you look into history, the more lies you will find. And then you won't be surprised when they lie to you in the future.
Real eyes, real lies, real lies. You can manipulate and control matter with sound frequencies. Interesting. Let's take a closer look.
I've never been more convinced that sound can manipulate reality.
Watch this, y'all. This is insane. Watch, y'all. The water just rises out of nowhere.
Everything vibrates at a frequency, and if you know that frequency, you can control things. This is the moth, and this diagramming all the frequencies of the elements and what their vibrational frequencies are, and the numbers that measure those frequencies. And they're all the numbers we get from looking at these ancient traditions that occur over and over and over again.
Y'all see that car?
Through this technology, they're able to move stones or cut stones or all the above. All the above.
We call these transducers, which is just a fancy word for speakers. These speakers, they only work at one frequency, and this frequency is 40 kilohertz, which we shouldn't be able to hear. Only bats, dogs, and other animals should be able to hear 40 kilohertz. But because the ultrasound is so powerful, if we put some particles, they should be kept immediately.
Stay weird, y'all.
Should the interpretation of these lines as electrical wires hold true, then the spheres might actually represent insulators. This object appears to be connected to a type of battery, which in turn is linked to what seems to be a distribution mechanism. This setup echoes the circuitry designs found in vintage automobiles, particularly in petrol combustion engines, due to its simplicity and efficacy in facilitating continuous electric discharge. The hypothesis that these reliefs depict an ancient form of electrical lighting was popularized by Norwegian electrical engineer and Austrian authors Peter Krasa and Rainer Habeck. They published a book titled Light of the Pharaohs: High Technology and Electricity in Ancient Egypt.
So many people are talking about ancient technologies with Egypt. It's almost hard to deny nowadays. Most rare teeth collection looks like a megalodon. Let's take a closer look.
Massive 6.25 meg found by Josh. Man, they're just built different.
This is actually a Harleyville hen.
Take it as just a display like
yeah, so they don't find this formation.
Really?
Yeah. There's dire wolf, jaguar. This is the American bear.
The museums
massive 6.2.
That is a massive shark tooth.
In 1934, gold miners found a tiny 6.5-inch mummy in a Wyoming cave named Pedro. It wasn't a child, but an adult with sharp teeth and signs of a violent. Linked to native legends of the Namariga, Pedro vanished mysteriously in 1950 and hasn't been seen since. In 1934, gold miners found a tiny 6.5-inch mummy in a Wyoming cave.
Who named it Pedro and why? That's absolutely disturbing. If you thought I didn't have an excellent specimen for you today, think again. Feast your eyes on this spectacular Lemurian quartz. It's almost like ice, like frozen ice, but in quartz formation. Definitely an excellent specimen. If I had to name this, I would name it Secret Glacier. Would be my name. Secret Glacier. We are looking at a closer view of Kailasa Temple. That's definitely an elephant. What was that? Oh, multiple elephants, but one probably knocked off the trunk. AI tries to decode ancient languages.
Easter Island script, the so-called Rongo Rongo tablets of Easter Island, fully developed script which nobody can read. Do you know that Easter Island, back in the 19th century, was subjected to slave raids? The slavers were Peruvian slave raiders. They removed almost the entire population.
Wow.
There's the Rongo Rongo tablets.
Look how beautiful that language looks.
Yeah. And what is it telling us? You know, this is maybe, I hope AI can be unleashed on this and maybe find some solutions. The Easter Island script, the so-called Rongo.
The Easter Island is a complete mystery. Look at these giant stone heads. Giants crafted them, if you had to ask me, or you had airships drop them off. Because these things are absolutely massive. They're like, what, 20 feet tall? Weigh like, what, 10 tons? Who's moving that?
Hey, 你看这个
Leaked government footage of Bigfoot trying. Leaked government footage of Bigfoot trying to outrun a CIA.
CIA hunting Bigfoot. Leak footage. You better lock in and buckle up, bucko.
Leaked government footage of Bigfoot trying to outrun a CIA helicopter. Bigfoot hunts have been on the rise recently, and the government finally wants to become involved with it. Although they won't dare to show it to the public, somebody actually managed to sneak out footage that was recently uploaded after an ambush attempt with Bigfoot. In this video, we have live footage of a giant bipedal creature running at incredible speed through rocky terrain. The helicopter and the agent recording are trying their best to keep on its tail. Bigfoot looks absolutely terrified in this, constantly looking over his shoulder at this gigantic, metallic flying animal. The other agent who saw this amazing footage thought it would be a great idea to sell it off for a quick buck to a nearby Bigfoot community. And from there, things just spiraled online. What do you make of this bizarre footage? Leaked government footage of Bigfoot.
I like how his arms are just swinging like la 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 through the woods. Man, somebody capture Bigfoot already and show us what's going on. And by the looks of it, the CIA can't even focus their camera straight. While treasure hunting, they found unusual markings. Let's take a closer look.
Look at this freaking thing right here. Why isn't this everywhere? We've seen the spiral pineapples, the coconuts with a straw.
What are you doing? Don't.
Right now, there are 130.
I'm about to turn this 7-inch.
Right now, there are 131 active deep underground military bases.
The code word for today is Saturday Night Live. Go ahead and drop Saturday Night Live in the comments below. That lets me know you're a real one and you made it all the way through this video, and I just want to say thank you. Truly, your support means the world to me. I cannot thank you enough. This was the most disturbing videos on the internet today. See you tomorrow.